Hello, women of Menopause Support Group. How are you all today? It is Julie Zolfo. I am one of the blessed experts to be a part of this amazing community. Today is Tuesday. It is April 28th, and I am here live with Gwen Harris, our founder of this amazing group. Hey, Gwen.
Hey, how are you, Julie?
Oh, I'm doing great this Tuesday afternoon and just so excited to be here with you, Gwen. I'm sure the group has been seeing all your posts about this little thing that's going on within the group,
Yes.
kind of like this book that's going on before, during, and after menopause. So I'm Julia Zolfo. I'm a life coach and a master trainer with Mastery of Self-Love. And today I wanted to talk with all of you and with Gwen about kind of some of the resources and recommendations and just some solutions that I'd love to offer you as you're going either before, during, or after menopause. So Gwen, thank you so much for creating this opportunity for us to speak together today.
Yes, ladies, as you know, I formed this group about 7 years ago out of my own menopause despair. And I formed it because I felt lonely and wondered if anybody else, was dealing with some of the same stuff I was. Come to learn over all these years, menopause is not cut and dried for anybody. There's many, many, many pain points. So I never expected that we would be at a place in our group that we have almost 68,000 women all over the world, that there would be experts that would join me in this process to be able to help other women. I just didn't know we'd get to this place, but here we are. So what we've done for you ladies is we read through your posts and we see what you're struggling with. It makes our hearts really, really sad because we want to help you. And since we're so big and across the whole globe, obviously we can't do that one-on-one, which is as much as we'd love to. So what we decided to do, ladies, was create this book for you, Before, During, and After Menopause, your resource guide to cruising through menopause with grace, gratitude, confidence, and ease. You know what? You don't have to just strive in this season. You can thrive. And this book is from the heart. And each of our experts who are here on our team to serve you, these are professional women, doctors, experts, professionals in what they do. They have taken the time to compile this book and to offer you tangible solutions to whatever your pain points are. So today we're featuring Julie. Julie comes to you with a myriad of tools in her arsenal that can really, really help you. So Julie, first of all, what I'd love for you to do is share with the women a little bit of what your menopause story was and kind of what brought you to the place that you are to be able to help women in their struggles during life.
Great, thank you, Gwen. Well, I love the title of your book, like Before, During, and After Menopause, because for me, where my menopause story started was actually in the before. I was 37 years old. I was in a relationship where I was in love with the person. I was in love with the man. I was living in Arizona, and I was starting my life in Arizona with this person. And all of a sudden, slowly but surely, my emotions, Gwen, just started getting out of whack. And at first I was just feeling I was a little irritable. Maybe it was because I just moved there and it was a whole new world for me. But day by day, month from month, these waves of emotion actually began to swallow me up. And within a 2-year period, I went from being this like amazing independent woman who had just come back from traveling around the world, found the love of my life, and I ended up being swallowed up in my emotions and diving into this deep depression. And I was in this depression for about 2 years.
Wow.
I was so unfunctional that I couldn't work. I had left Arizona to go live with my sister in North Carolina. And for 4 months, I literally every day, Gwen, shades down in the bed, just could not function in life. It was just a very, very, very dark period. And for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to get to know me yet, I'm a very upbeat person. I'm positive. I always see, life as an opportunity. So something happened that took me out. It wasn't until a couple years later, Gwen, that I started to do my work, going to therapy, investing in my professional development, that I learned that I had this conversation in my mind going on, and I was repeating over and over again about my self-worth, about, you know, all these limiting beliefs, that I had no idea that I was making a lot of the choices in my life looking at, will you love me if I make this choice? Will you approve of me if I make this choice? If I take this job, or if I finally lose that extra 10 pounds, now will I be popular? Now that will you love me? And I call that the LAPD, right? Woo, woo, that's very dangerous when you have the cops coming behind you, the LAPD, right? What I learned in that period is I was making choices based on love, getting appreciation, getting approval, being popular. And all that did was continue to feed in a very dysfunctional relationship, a dysfunctional way of thinking, and I became very unsatisfied. And at first, I blamed the relationship in that it was unsatisfying. But what I learned at that point is I was really unsatisfied with who I was.
Mhm.
But the truth was, I was this amazing woman, but I was comparing myself to all these other women. I was comparing to where my life needed to be. And it really stopped me in my tracks. I mean, I know you kind of went through a little depression yourself. Can you relate to some of those things?
Oh gosh, yes. And you think, my goodness, what planet am I from? What
Absolutely.
happened to me, you know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so this all happened really before I started getting the physical symptoms of the hot flashes and the night sweats. Those came about, I was 35, 36 when I went into depression. And about 10 years later, I started really feeling the impact of the physical symptoms of menopause. But here's the good thing. Because I did my work, I did my inner work of working on my emotional mastery, of really looking at like those thoughts that were taking me out. When it got to the stage of me like having my hot flashes and putting on the weight and not feeling really good about myself, I was able to be like, cancel, cancel, Julie. You know this is not true. It's just the thought that you're making up in your head. And the truth is, you're beautiful, you're
That's right.
healthy, you're vibrant, you have so many things in your control other than, all right, I'm sweating a little bit, right? And I got to change my sheets every so often.
Yep.
And so what I've noticed, Gwen, in being part of this group is that a lot of women, now that I'm seeing like in their late 40s into their 50s, I'm curious to see how much work they did on their self-esteem and on getting really solid in themselves, because this menopause is real. I am not denying the
Yep.
reality, and it's frustrating and it's hard and you feel like crap and you feel ugly. I get it. We've all had those days. But how long do you let yourself sit
Right.
and wallow in that?
Right. Right.
And I feel blessed that even though I was, it wasn't comfortable. I had to buy new clothes. I had to like get extra deodorant. I couldn't wear, like, you see, I'm like wearing a white shirt now. When I was doing presentations back then, I was very self-conscious of my sweat all the time. I had to wear sleeveless shirts, right? These are all things that are easily able to do your workarounds. And
Mhm.
so one of the things that I really wanted to talk about with women in my chapter and what I do is really looking at the emotional mastery in our lives. Because as we all know, life happens at every stage, before, during, and after. There are just things we can't control.
Right.
What we can
Right.
control is what's happening inside of us. And I feel like I am really the queen of tools and helping women get really centered and finding peace within themselves, Gwen, because this is what I had to do for myself, is finding peace and being in acceptance and being like, I'm really okay, and
Yes.
this too shall pass. And I
Yes.
feel empowered by that.
Yes. You know, I think any one of us, when we can take our situation under control somehow and not rely on somebody else, that is empowering. When you start to see those little bits of change, little step by step,
Mhm.
it is empowering. And as we
Yes.
move towards healing in this process, and healing comes in many forms. It's not only physical, it's psychological, it's soulful, it's emotional, it's all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so your chapter in our book, Julie's chapter is on page 41. And Julie's chapter, as she even has on her backdrop there, is called the Menopausal Map. And, you know, when we are looking for directions to go somewhere, we look at a map, whether it's
Absolutely.
GPS, whether it's the old Thomas, you know, guide that we used to use in days gone by. That was a map. We need a map to get from where we are to where we want to be. And it didn't take us, you know, one day to get to where we are. It's not going to take us one day to get to where we want to be. But the big deal is of choosing, number one, choosing to make a change, choosing to follow that map, and slowly moving forward in a community that will support you lovingly. And Julie, you are a master of that. So talk a little bit about the Menopausal Map.
Absolutely. Well, what I did, Gwen, behind this other page, I'm going to take this down. I have a little more to share with you.
Okay.
So, like I shared, you know, as in your book, there's different life stages before, during, and after menopause. And as a life coach, when I'm working with women, there are different things that are showing up for us at different stages in our lives. And here's the key. If you're not honoring what that stage of your life is asking for you, I call it like first you'll get that little whisper like, Julie, maybe you should do something different. And then it's like little tap, hey, yo, I reminded you before. And then if you really don't listen, you're going to get the 2x4.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, right? You get the 2x4, or you're down on your knees, right?
Yep.
So, you know, I wanted to share with women, you know, depending on where you are, because we do have a lot of women in the group, surprisingly, that even it's in their late 20s and early 30s that they're going into menopause. Right. So for those women who come to me, and again, this is about the emotional and mental things that are going on in your life, some of those struggles and the clarity that you're happening between 28 and 30 is really about what do you really want in your life, right? Getting really clear. This is the first time in our life between 28 and 30 that we're being really asked to make decisions based on like what we really want. And the truth is, Gwen, most people haven't been given the tools to really understand what that means. And so one of the tools that I use is called the passion test.
Excellent.
And people kind of get a little like passion, like, oh, is that a little overrated word? Let me bring it to another level of passion. Is it a little loud there? Are you hearing my construction guys in the back there?
No.
Okay, sorry about that. Just a little sidebar. They're doing some leaf blowing outside. So when I talk about passion, it's really about why is passion important? Because passion, when you get really clear about what matters most to you, it becomes like the breadcrumbs that lead you to your personal destiny and your purpose. Because so many people say, like, what's my life purpose? What am I supposed to do? That's an ever evolving process. What we can control is what is God, what is our higher power, what is truly in our heart that we know is our gift and our talent. And the gauge between the ages of 28 and 30, if you're using them, great, life seems to be working. But if you're not using them, like you're in a relationship doesn't work, you're in a job that doesn't feel right, you know, you're going to start feeling the pinch between 28 and 30. So, and then it's kind of interesting, you always hear about the 7-year itch. Well, the same thing works when in life stages. So between 28 and 30, what really matters most to us, then we drop between 35 and 37. And that's a warning time. This is about, if you haven't done this, it's time to adapt. It's time to modify, or you're going to fall into crises. So what happened to me between 35 and 37? I fell into crises because what happened then, Gwen, instead of staying independent, honoring my career, you know, kind of doing things Julie's way, I got in a relationship with a loving man, but I started giving away my power. I started thinking he knew all the answers. He knew what was best for the both of our relationship. And the more and more I gave away that power of mine, the more and more I fell into that crisis. You know, so that was where I had to do my work. But then between 35 and 42, right, this is about being liberated. And liberation is going to come from a following different ways, Gwen. It's either going to come from we're mature and we finally take responsibility for what's going on and we own our life, we start being fierce. Or this is where I see conflict and loss. Loss through job, loss through relationship. The divorce rate starts going up really high here. So I have my clients look at this liberation. Maybe there's the blessing behind that. And it's always going back to, what did you really want? Did you lose sight of that? And so in all the work that I do, Gwen, it's about getting people, first of all, really clear. I mean, I sit here at my desk all day long and I look forward to sharing this process with you, but I have my top 5 passions sitting on my desk all day long. And so as I'm working throughout the day and I'm making choices and opportunities come to me, I get really clear. I'm like, is this on my passion list? If not, it's an easy no. And it keeps me really free to move in the direction of my passion each and every time. And the more and more I follow that, Gwen, the more and more I'm leaning towards my destiny, being a part of a contribution with a group just like that.
Right.
And then, you know, we kind of move on even to our 50s. And for most of the women, again, a large percentage of our community is really falling within this group. And I kind of titled this Fulfillment or Bust, because we've kind of gotten past, like, it's about looking good, it's about our job. When we start getting into the 50s and moving up into our 60s, this is our wisdom years. This is the time not to be so attached to what's going on here on the outside, although you and I both look really good right now.
Yeah, we do, actually. Natural little lipstick does.
Right? But it really is when, you know, we as women are really, and this is the part where women struggle. So a lot of my work is really working with women about, what are you being so attached to on the outside? And how do we start working and really feeling fulfilled, right? When you look at the word fulfillment, it actually has fill me, right? And when you fill you, then you have the opportunity to spill over and serve others. So that's why I'm part of this group. Not so much that, you know, I have the physical, we have the Dr. Marias of the world and the brain fog and Sandy with health and wellness about helping you, you know, lose the weight, and Tina, you know, releasing the weight. My expertise in this group is really helping you if you're struggling with your weight. If you're struggling with your mindset with money, maybe a part of it hasn't been that you haven't gotten really clear as to what really matters to you. So I'm really like the what matters most woman.
And you know what? This is so paramount. Your last step there, fulfillment or bust. I recently was reminded through a video that a friend sent to me of Steve Jobs, who all his life, he did everything he could to build his empire and nobody liked him because he was a tyrant. When he was on his deathbed, which was at 56, very, very young, he realized, oh my gosh, what is so important here? It's not how I look. It's not the money I have in the bank. It's not the empire I built. It's all the other stuff that you're talking about here. And ladies, I'll have to say, you know, I learned to know Julie on a hike here in Central Oregon last August. And we got to talking, and as our team of experts, our council of experts was being born, and we all, like I said, all come together with different expertise, with different solutions to different pain points. What Julie offered and what I heard her talk about just resonated so loud to me, like she has got to be part of this team because it starts in our minds. It's making that decision. And you know, it's never too late. Maybe you're 61 years old like me. I'm 61. I've done some of the work beforehand here. And like I said, it really hit me like a ton of bricks 7 years ago. And that's why this group is even here, but it's never too late to start. We're here to walk beside you. We're here to guide you. That's why we wrote our book, Before, During, and After Menopause. And Julie will provide the link to buy the book as well as the link to how to contact her. But something that's even a more wonderful thing too than this is, as part of buying the book, you will have the opportunity to receive as a bonus over $2,000 in free resources that all of our experts are offering. And here's why we're doing that. We care about where you're at. By buying the book, having access to those resources that are free to you, you can learn to know our experts up close and personal. You can make the changes. You don't have to stay stuck. And not only that, we also give you the opportunity to join our very, very new exclusive membership only VIP menopause group. Now in our support group, yay, in our support group, and support is, you know, a great place to vent. You know, sometimes you just have to get it off our chest, right? But does that really offer you a solution for change? So for those of you that are really serious about making a change, what you will be blessed with in this VIP group, it's like I said, it's an exclusive group. You have access personally with our experts who will offer webinars, podcasts, seminars, boot camps, summits, you name it. That is where you will tangibly be able to access this information over and over and over. And it's not a place to vent, it's a place to learn. It's a place to start those life stages. Even if you're 61 like me, like I said, you can kind of go back and revisit your 28s and 30s. Because, you know, I know when you get to be my age, there are days that you really feel invisible and invaluable, and bust that out of your life and just start to make these changes. Let's together move forward to thrive in this season, not just survive. That's what we're here to help you do. So join us, buy our book, and it's just in time for Mother's Day. Yes, before, during, and after menopause. It is the only resource that you will need to cruise through menopause with grace, gratitude, confidence, and ease. No matter what stage you're in, before, during, or after, we are here to help you. So Julie, what you're doing for our team, thank you so much. It's hard to find words literally to articulate each one of you experts and what you're doing to bless our women. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for letting me be a part of this. And again, for those women who are out there, again, you're not alone. No. Don't feel isolated. Let's navigate all these life stages together. Like Gwen said, the book, the VIP group, and when it's time to go and we're allowed to start to travel, we'll be on our cruises together, right? Yeah. We'll be at local events together, and even some maybe events overseas, over in Europe. We have a huge London contingency, people in Australia. So this is only the beginning, like Gwen said, of yes, we want to share what's not working, but we also want to be, how do we move forward and have solutions? So Gwen, thank you again for creating this amazing community.
Well, thank you so much. And ladies, thank you. It's going to be an honor to learn to know you personally. Take care.
Ciao. Bye-bye, Gwen.
Bye.